A recent Pew Foundation poll finds that 85% of Republicans and 94% of Democrats want to either maintain or increase funding for Medicare. 60% of Americans oppose slashing Medicaid, according to a recent Quinnipiac poll. A recent Wall Street Journal NBC poll finds that only 12% of the American people believe that the wealthy should receive a tax cut, while 62% believe that the wealthiest people in our country should pay more in taxes. So what you have is the American people saying, don't cut Medicare, don't cut Medicaid, don't give tax breaks to billionaires. In fact, ask them to pay more in taxes. That, by and large, is where the American people are coming from, whether the Democrats, Republicans, or independents. So then the question arises, why is the Republican leadership bringing forward a budget that does the exact opposite of what the American people want? And the answer to that question, I'm sorry to say, is not complicated. It has everything to do with a corrupt campaign finance system that allows billionaires and the wealthiest people in this country to exert their influence over the political process. That increasingly, it is not the ordinary American, the middle-class worker, that the Congress listens to, but it is wealthy campaign contributors. Today, we have a corrupt campaign finance system that enables multi-billionaires, along with some of the most powerful CEOs in America, to contribute many hundreds of millions of dollars into the political process. Many of us believe that the concept of democracy is one person, one vote. You get a vote, you get a vote, I get a vote. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Majority wins. That's what we teach the children in the 5th grade and the 6th grade. One person, one vote, majority wins. But unfortunately, as a result of the disastrous Citizens United Supreme Court decision, the American campaign finance system has been totally corrupted, and we now have a situation where billionaire families can spend unlimited sums of money to help elect candidates who protect their interests. And not only can they spend that money, that is exactly what they are doing. Mr. President, there was a very interesting article in the Boston Globe just the other day, October 14th. And this is what the article says. Headline: The Koch brothers and their friends want President Trump's tax cut very badly. And this is what the article says. The message from the billionaire, and I should say a word about the Koch brothers, not everybody knows who they are. Koch brothers are the second wealthiest family in America. They're struggling to catch up to the Boltons, not quite there yet. They're only worth $90 billion. Struggling, but they're getting by. Happy to tell you. And with that $90 billion, what they are doing, along with a few of their friends, is spending hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars every campaign cycle to elect people, in this case Republicans, who support their agenda. That's what the article says. The message from the billionaire-led Koch network of donors to President Trump and the Republican Congress it helped to shape couldn't be more clear. Pass a tax overhaul or else. As the donors mixed and mingled for a policy summit at the St. Regis Hotel in Midtown Manhattan last week, just a block south from Trump Tower, it came up again and again and again. Quote, it's the most significant federal effort we've ever taken on, end quote, said Tim Phillips, president of Americans for Prosperity, a Koch-aligned group with offices in 36 states. Quote, the stakes for the Republicans, I've never seen them this high, end of quote. Many in the Koch network, a vast group of libertarian-leaning nonprofits and advocacy and political organizations, describe the upcoming legislative push for a tax overhaul as an inflection point in modern political history, a do-or-die moment that would define whether their efforts over the years will pay off or not. The network leaders plan to dedicate much of their 2-year, $400 million politics and policy budget to the effort, though they wouldn't give an exact number. $400 million in the next 2 years to pass this piece of legislation. And this comes from a family, the Koch brothers, who are pretty upfront about what they believe. They do not want to cut Social Security or Medicare and Medicaid. They'll take that, but that's really not their goal. They want to eliminate Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, and virtually every other federal program that provides help to the working families of this country. And oh, by the way, just in passing, if the estate tax, which is part of the Republican budget, is repealed, just in passing, we might want to mention that the Koch brothers family would see a benefit of some $30 billion. So if your family is going to get a $30 billion benefit, putting a few $100 million into seeing that legislation passed is not a difficult idea. Mr. President, this budget makes it clear who the Republicans in Congress are listening to, and it is not the middle class of working families who do not want to see Medicare cut or Medicaid cut, and who certainly do not want to see a $1.9 trillion tax break to the top 1%. I am afraid that my Republican colleagues are listening to their top campaign contributors who have told the Republican Party in no uncertain terms that if they do not get their tax cuts, they will stop providing Republicans with hundreds of millions of dollars in campaign contribution. Now, how sad is that? You think about the incredibly brave Americans who have fought for democracy over the years, some of whom never returned from the battlefields, to fight for an American democracy that makes us a country where people rule. Abraham Lincoln reminded us, a government of the people, by the people, for the people. Not a government of the billionaires, by the billionaires, and for the billionaires.